Hey all, it's Rebecca, and in today's video for Customer Service Chronicles, I wanted to talk about shit you should never say on a recorded phone line. Because I guess this is like not common sense, but yeah, there are certain things that you should never say on a recorded phone line that people just don't seem to understand. And so for episode 2 of this series that I'm doing, if you want to continue watching to know certain things that you should never say on a recorded phone line when talking to anybody, to be honest, then keep watching because that's what we're getting into today. So the first thing that I really want to touch on is don't tell somebody something on a recorded phone line that could get you arrested. That's like idiots are us 101 kind of thing. Like criminals are really dumb, and so if you're gonna do something illegal and break the law, just don't talk about it on a recorded phone line. Because, and if you get arrested and you go to jail, and you're in booking and you call somebody to say, hey, come bail me out, dumbass, don't talk about what happened in booking because everything in the jail is recorded. You're on camera 24/7. They record everything that goes on in the jail. They record everything that happens in every inch of a jail. So you have zero expectation of privacy in those facilities. So it's kind of like the same thing when you're talking to anybody like on a recorded phone line. If you tell certain people that work certain types of jobs, like say you call somebody that's working in a medical kind of field, like one of the jobs that I worked recently that was a contract position. If you told us something that was dangerous or violent or could harm somebody else, we were supposed to report that. And there was another job that I worked where the person I was on the phone with was allowing her children to abuse her other children. And when I made a comment of, oh my, that sounds bad, and she's like, the lady in detail explained what was going on that I could hear. And so I did a well check because we're required to. So again, don't talk about illegal things on the phone when you're calling a recorded phone, when you know you're on a recorded phone line. It's just kind of like, so, number 2, if you call a company that you have made a purchase from, be it a retailer or like you went to a store and you made an in-store purchase, or you went to a website and you bought something on a website for a retailer or whatever, and there was an exchange of information for an exchange of goods, do not call on a recorded phone line and say, you guys suck ass, I'm going to call my credit card company and report that as fraud and get my money back because you guys suck ass. You have just now admitted to credit card fraud on a recorded phone line. Slow clap for you, my friend. You are a special one indeed. I don't know how many times a week I have to tell people at work on a recorded phone line Please do not contact your bank and tell them you did not authorize this charge, because on the website you agreed to our terms and conditions. And I will do a more in-depth video. Actually, that reminds me, I needed to write that down. That's my to-do list. Is it on here? Okay, I have two really great examples. One of them is a Spectrum receipt, and right at the very bottom, it says customer acknowledgement. It says, I agree that the above is a correct listing of the equipment issued or returned. I understand that the applicable, again, English is hard. I understand that applicable fees may apply and agree that the equipment issued by Spectrum is the property of Charter Communications, Spectrum. I assume responsibility for any damage and will exercise reasonable care to maintain it in good working condition. I understand that upon termination of services, all equipment must be returned immediately returned to Spectrum. You have actually 14 days, not 14 business days, 14 days from termination of your contract with Spectrum in order to turn it in, unless their contract has changed since I worked there. Including all attachments, accessories, and parts. That also includes your Ethernet cables and anything else that goes with it, like the power plugs and everything. You're supposed to return all of it, but most people just return the equipment and the plug. It says, I acknowledge and accept the applicable terms and conditions of the service listed on www.spectrum.com. This is a standard terms and conditions, which I will be doing a video on terms and conditions at another time. But this is standard to most receipts. I also have a Publix receipt here. This one says, join the Publix family. Apply today at applypublix.com. We're an equal opportunity employer. Does this one have... This one doesn't actually have terms and conditions written on the receipt, but it does have a receipt number. And I do know that if you go on the website and you type in your receipt number, you can pull up the terms and conditions on the Publix website, which is, Publix.com, and you can pull up their terms and conditions for purchases made at their establishment. So, and I will not live in a state in the United States in which a Publix does not exist, because Publix. Anyways, so when you go to an establishment and you agree to purchase something there, whether it is at their terminal and you are putting in a card or swiping something on that screen, you agree to whatever that purchase is. When you go to a website to make a purchase, you agree to the terms and conditions on the website. And there are rules and regulations on there that says, I authorize so-and-so to use my banking information to process a payment for such and such product and services. You are authorizing that company to use your payment method to process a payment for rendered services and goods. Okay. Normally, it is an agreement to pay. It's the little button that you click. There's usually a little box there that you have to check. There's a CAPTCHA thing on most websites to tell the robot you're a human. That's usually what I call it. And most people don't read any of this shit on the websites. So when you call a company and you tell them, well, I never approved this, and I don't know why you're charging me, and I never signed up for this shit, and I want a refund, and if you don't refund me, I'm going to call my bank, and I'm going to tell them this is fraud. But at the beginning of the phone call, you tell me, I purchased such and such on such and such a date, and then I realized I bought the wrong item, and I want a refund. And you give them the information that they need to apply for the refund on their own, because you're not allowed to process that refund on your side because of tracking. And your company does not like it when you process refunds. You can process refunds, but they have asked you not to process refunds on your side. They have asked you to send them the tracking link to the website where they do a self-request for refund on the website. They put in their order number, they pick their product, they fill out their email, they do their own who, what, where, whys, and whens, and they submit the thing, and they get a case number, and it tells them everything they need to know that they don't read right there on the website, gives them everything that they need to know that they don't read. Even tells them how long after a purchase that they can apply for a refund that they don't read. If you call and you tell a business, because people are really stupid, that I bought this and this isn't what I thought it was, or I bought the wrong thing, or I screwed up, or blah, blah, blah. And then later on in the call, you're making all these threats about, well, I didn't authorize this, or I'm going to call my bank and I'm going to report it as fraud. We now have a recording that our finance team can use against you when that dispute comes through from the bank. They can look for that call through the system using AI, and they can look for that phone call where you called in. And when that bank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase, Capital One, Amex, Discover, whoever you used to use that, and they send us the forms and they say, this consumer claims that they did not make this charge, they did not authorize it, that this was fraudulent, and we're going on good faith by this consumer and submitting this on their behalf to you, the business. The business then has to research on their side and come up with proof, and then we come back and we say, this is what they bought, this is where they agreed to it, this is the date, time, and IP address that they did, who, what, where, why, and when. And here's the recorded phone line call, date and time, and here's the blurb where they clearly admit to buying the product that they screwed up. Here's the other snippet from the phone call where they admit to committing bank fraud. And they send that back to the bank. The bank then looks at that information in their fraud department, and they go back to the account and they deny the claim. And they put that charge back on your account. Now, how stupid do you feel? Your bank now knows you're a liar. Good for you. And we now know you're a liar at the side of the company. And if you get somebody like me on the phone, I'm going to document on your call. At the beginning of the call, the consumer stated that they bought the wrong product, sent the help link that they needed via email to request a refund, sent steps through blah, 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 blah. And of course, they can see the email that I sent. Everything I say and do on the phone lines are recorded as well, transcribed by the AI. And walk the customer through how to file the refund. On the phone, they said it was my effing problem and that it's my fault they bought the wrong product. Try to guide the consumer to the correct product to buy X, Y, and Z. Consumer got attitude, used profanity, asked to keep the phone call professional. Consumer refused, threatened to file fraudulent charges at the bank. Told the consumer that would be considered bank fraud and advised against it. Consumer said that they would proceed with fraudulent charges against us. Consumer hung up. I'm going to document that on the call so that it makes it easier when they're searching for that information, when they get your information in the finance department, they're going to know I'm the one that took your call. They're going to know by my notes what you said. And normally I will put beginning of call, discuss this way, this far through the call, consumer discuss this, so it makes it easier for them. They don't have to listen to the whole call. They can just use the AI system to go through and find exactly where you said that you were going to commit bank fraud. So, please don't do that. Please don't be stupid. Please don't admit to a crime on my recorded phone lines, because not only will I call you out in my notes, because I don't care. You're not hurting my bank account. I don't work for the bank, so it doesn't bother me any. I'm going to document the call like I'm supposed to. But, I usually do advise against it because I do have a legal background, and I'm going to tell you that that's not advisable and that, that is a crime. I legit had a lawyer on my phone line the other day who practiced law for 35 years tell me that they were going to do exactly that. And I advised against it. And he says, "Who do you think you are to tell me that that's a crime?" I says, "Well, I have this degree, and I used to work at this law firm, and I did this for 20 years, and it's a crime. And you live in Florida, and I'm from Florida, and this is the state statute in Florida where I can tell you that it's a crime. So I'm advising you against that, and you're on a recorded phone line. So play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Just saying." And your law firm email is the email that you use for your account with us. How much dumber can you get than that? Like, really? Like, make that make sense. It makes me wonder what type of lawyer that was or is, if they're blatantly going to commit bank fraud so openly like that. So, let's see. Point number 3. When you talk to medical professionals on the phone, when I have worked in the industry, when it relates to medical things, okay, I know I was just actually talking to my friend Louise about this earlier today. One of the questions that they're required to ask female patients on the line that's called teledoc. A lot of people use teledoc. There's a lot of different like televisit, health, telehealth, that kind of thing. And I've worked a couple of different telehealth kind of companies. They have to ask about menstrual cycles and stuff. You do not have to technically answer those questions. But when it comes to working for a company that deals with medical information, do not mention suicide. I worked for a company that took workers' comp claims, and this claim that I was taking for this individual, they were not in the right headspace, and we were fixing to get a doctor on the phone for a televisit with this patient. I did my intro with the doctor, gave them the age of the patient, what the injuries were, when the date of the incident occurred, that kind of stuff, what I was supposed to do. Doctor said they could take the call, went to merge the call in. All of a sudden the patient is crying. Doctor's like taken aback by that, and I am too. And of course, I usually go, "Hey, so-and-so, are you still with me?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, what the fuck happened in the 3 minutes I'm giving the doctor the 411? What the fuck? And I'm like, "I have Dr. So-and-so on the line. Are you able to speak with them?" And they proceed to blubber through another yes. And I'm like, okay, well, as we discussed before, because I've been told that the sound of my keyboard and me typing is too loud on the recordings, I will still be here throughout the call. I'm going to go ahead and mute. On my side, the doctor's going to take over the call. When the doctor's done asking questions and whatnot, I will unmute at that point. And then the person whimpered out, "Oh, okay." The doctor goes, "Hi, so-and-so. I am Dr. blah, blah, blah. I understand that you had a workplace injury, and this is, could you tell me a little bit more about what was going on and what happened?" And then this person went off the rails, went from here to over there right quick and in a hurry. We're doing a televisit, okay? This person called in about a workplace injury. Now, by the end of this call, the doctor's thinking they're a psych patient and that we need to have 911 involved and that we need to have them rushed off to a medical facility for a 5150 hold, which is also called a Baker Act in Florida, which is an involuntary psychiatric hold for 72 hours in a mental health facility, because they think that the injuries were because they tried to off themselves on a work location. I sat there on that call taking transcription, mind blown by what took place. And I can't say shit about it. I can't ask questions. I can't talk to the patient. And when the doctor gets done with his assessment and everything, and of course he tells me what the diagnosis is, he tells me, when you're done with this call, can you please call me back? I need you to call me back for follow-up. You to call me back by yourself. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, we don't call the doctor without a patient on the line because they don't get paid without a patient on the line. I start messaging my supervisor, get her in the mix of it. She ended up calling him back to find out the 411. And then she messages me what the fuck to do. I'm like, don't tell healthcare providers you are suicidal, thinking about suicide, having suicidal ideations, unless you want a jacket that will hug you. Because on a recorded phone line, if you're talking to somebody that works with medical doctors or in the medical field or in a medical setting, they have to act on it. Same with law enforcement, firefighters, teachers, any type of doctor. They're called reporters, and they all have to report any type of dangerous behavior. Anybody that is a danger to themselves or anybody else, or that could cause self-harm or harm to others, has to be reported. Whether it was I was thinking about it, I'm on the edge of thinking about it, I'm on the edge of doing it, anything like that can and will be used against you in a mental health facility. And bye-bye, you can kiss your privileges away and your shoestrings at the same time. Because they will fucking lock you up, throw away the key, and you will feel fucking crazier by the time you get out of that facility than you did walking in. Because they have to report it. So, I think I can stop at that one. I don't want these to be too long, and that one's terrifying enough. So, shit not to say on a recorded phone line. Customer Service Chronicles episode 2. Yeah, that last one was kind of a doozy. So, hopefully you guys are liking these episodes. I mean, this is only the second one that I've done. Or is this third? Fuck, I don't even know. Let me look. Nope, this is episode 2. Because I was going to do the one about Norton and McAfee, and I haven't done that one yet. So this is technically episode 2. So Norton and McAfee is going to be another episode, because I have a whole bunch of shit I got to talk about for that. That does, the Norton McAfee one kind of rolls into what I was talking about in episode 1. So again, I got to... you guys have to see that one first before I do the other one. So hopefully you guys are liking these videos that I am doing on these little customer service like excursions or whatever. I'm trying to keep it like company neutral so that they go for like everyday experiences or like company neutral things. Like it could be for any company. Again, if you have any customer service stories and you want me to like recreate something that you have or an experience that you've gone through that you wanted me to kind of like do a story on or something like that, I will leave the email in the description box. You can also find I have made a whole new playlist for these as well. So there's an email for it that will take you it's specifically just for the stories that I made that's attached to my website that will go directly for the stories only. And it's not technically it is for my website. It's attached to my website domain, but it's just for the stories. So that's not like an email to like reach out to me personally or anything. It's just for the stories. But it's a special filter and stuff on my emails. So yes, hopefully you guys are liking these, and I do have a list started with several things on it. And yeah, I will see you guys in another Chronicle here soon whenever I get the time to film them. It is currently November 22nd at 11:19 p.m. So yeah, I got a wild hair. I was like, let me get that filmed while I still have it on my mind. Anyways, I will see you guys later. Bye. Okay, sorry about that brief interruption for my brain. So I thought I had written that on my list of videos to film, but I knew it was running around in my head, but of course ADHD. Probably better to write it down because I know that's just going to run out of there at one point and I'm going to forget. So if you call into a company that you have had a transaction with, and at some point there's going to be a receipt. Do I have a receipt handy? Do I have a receipt up here that I can look at? Normally I have a receipt somewhere over here that I can just like look at. Man, I don't have any receipts. Let me grab my wallet real quick. It's been a minute since I've left the house because I've had a migraine for over a week. Do I have a receipt in here? No, I don't. Anyways, normally, do I spy a receipt over there? Oh, I think I see a receipt. 1 second.